What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Our first question comes from Rick Villanueva, who asks if we want to see spin-off series of The Mandalorian, and if so, who do we want to see the series about?
So this is coming from something Bob Iger said on the recent investor call. I think it was on the 4th. And he said that we're exploring like spin-offs from The Mandalorian. He said something along those lines. And honestly, that's not really something that I want.
Yeah, it seems too early to tell, like, if it deserves a spin-off.
I agree. Like, I understand. So Cassian, that is a spin-off series, but it's like, okay, well, it's not like you can go forward. I do think there's a story to be told there. This, it feels like, I mean, I love the character Cara Dune. I want to see more from her. I don't want it to be in a spin-off. I want them to explore her character in The Mandalorian. Like, you already have this one series about these characters. You don't need to immediately, like, branch them off.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they do something where, let's say Bo-Katan comes into season 2 and she's not super central to the story. And then they're like, maybe we follow her. But then that feels too samey to The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Do you think maybe he was, like, he misspoke or was misheard, because maybe he just meant we're doing more spin-off series, not like spin-offs of The Mandalorian?
I think that's entirely possible, because that's what the Star Wars fandom does. We hear something, and I definitely heard that and was like, and then we overanalyze, and like a lot of times people say things and it's not as dramatic as we make it out to be. Like, that's exactly what Ewan McGregor just said.
Bob Iger has a lot on his plate. I could see if he maybe just was like, yeah, we're doing more Star Wars stuff.
Right. So
don't worry.
I'm like, I don't really want to see more spin-offs of this. I could see it being either way. Yeah, maybe he misspoke. Maybe they are looking into it. It doesn't mean that that's confirmed. I mean, that would still be way down the line anyway, because it was just reported that the Cassian show is going to start filming this year. That Ash Crossan on ET Online reported that. Kenobi's filming early next year, so like we've got a good amount of time before a 4th series is going to pop up. But yeah, I'd really rather them focus on new stuff rather than, like, I don't know, opening up. So it's like, well, we have The Mandalorian and the Cara Dune show and the IG-11 prequel series. And
I mean, as much as I want more Baby Yoda content, maybe we get a spin-off where we see everything from The Mandalorian, but from Baby Yoda's point of view.
They can do a children's show that's the Baby Yoda Wowie Zowie Fun Time Hour.
Yes.
And it's like Sesame Street, but just all puppets. It's like Muppet Babies. We get baby versions of all of our favorite Star Wars characters.
I'm down.
I know you are.
Hiramatsu wants to know how the Rebels sequel series could be structured. So not confirmed yet, but yeah, where would we just pick up where we left off?
I think probably there might be a bit of a time jump, but I would hope that it was pretty soon after the Rebels epilogue.
Yeah, because that was already a time jump.
Yeah, it seemed like Sabine and Ahsoka were ready to go find Ezra, and if they wait another 5 years, it's like just relaxing.
Yeah.
Something he specifically asked in his question was like, would we wait a season until we saw Ezra and Thrawn again? Kind of like in Rebels season 1. We heard about Fulcrum. It wasn't revealed to be Ahsoka until the end of season 1. Would it be something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it. I think we all know Ezra and Thrawn are out there.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to keep that a mystery. I think it's more interesting to show us exactly what they're going through. So I would hope it's kind of split between Ahsoka and Sabine searching and Ezra and Thrawn surviving.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Sabine and Hera and Ahsoka, like, people are clamoring to know what's happening with Ezra and Thrawn.
That's an interesting thought now that I think about it. So, yeah, we have a time jump with Ahsoka and Sabine. We know where they are at the end of the Galactic Civil War, but Ezra and Thrawn have been missing for 4, 5, maybe 6 years. So what have they been up to? And there is a time jump for them. Are we going to start 5 years later and Thrawn has like a big blue beard, or are we gonna like start further back, like right after they jumped into the unknown regions? Like, I do want to see there might be 2 different timelines going on at 2 different times.
Thrawn's gonna look like the Beast from
Yeah.
X-Men.
I'd be down. So, yeah, I do want to see what happened to them immediately after the Purrgil took them away. I don't know now.
Hopefully we'll find out soon. Maybe. LEJ asks how things could have been different for Anakin and the galaxy if he didn't need the suit after his duel on Mustafar. Ooh, interesting. So, like, if he didn't lose his arms and legs?
Yeah, if he had basically won against Obi-Wan.
Oh.
So he didn't have the suit. I wonder if Palpatine would have treated him a little better. There is, like, a lot in the comics and in the books where Palpatine's like, your first test, and you failed it horribly. You lost all your limbs, and now you're in this suit.
I feel like it would have been massively different, because I feel like Anakin would have overpowered Palpatine at some point. Because Palpatine was kind of using... I mean, he had a lot of control over Anakin, but he was also, on top of that, using the suit to kind of torture him, and that really set him back for a while.
Yeah. It also would have been this thing where, like, his identity's out in the open. So that, I think that only would have helped Palpatine, honestly, because then they would have seen, like, oh, a big old Jedi hero of the Republic is standing behind Palpatine and saying that, yeah, the Jedi Order betrayed us. I think that people would get on board with that even more. But it didn't really seem like Palpatine needed any help with that story.
Would they be like, well, he looks different. His eyes are orange.
Don't pay any attention to that. Just my contacts. Just trying something new.
They both look very different.
He looks sickly and just evil. No one seems to pick up on that. Palpatine, you look really evil.
Yeah. Aged really quickly.
What happened to you? Well, the attempt on his life left him scarred and deformed.
Yeah. Maybe the same happened to Anakin. Maybe that's what they'll tell people.
I'm with you that I think maybe Anakin would have been able to overpower Palpatine, but I guess like the suit is like a metaphor for his tortured state.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe the timeline would have been pretty much the same, just explored in a different way.
Like, would he have, I don't know, like tried to kill Palpatine and take on his own apprentice at some point?
I think so. I mean, the second he becomes Darth Vader and he sees Padme, he's like, I'm more powerful than the Chancellor, and me and you can rule the galaxy together. Like, it took no time at all for him to be like, I'm going to overthrow him and then I'll be in charge.
Yeah.
Which is what all the Sith do.
And eventually he does literally overthrow him.
Throws him over the railing.
Corey P. wants to know what kind of VR story we would like to see come out of Star Wars. So we've gotten like Trials on Tatooine, which was just like a little tester, play with a lightsaber. Then we got the Vader Immortal stuff.
That's the first one I would call an actual story.
Yeah.
Although Trials on Tatooine is cool. The little droid repair bay is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But Vader Immortal is the first actual story, and I think it was really well done. They did this for one Battlefront piloting mission, a VR, like you're in an X-Wing cockpit. I want a full game like that. I'm a Starfighter guy. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. That was also something that came to my mind first. I guess pod racing would be cool.
Oh my God.
It would be a lot to take in, but if they could make it work, I don't know. Have you played any VR racing games?
Well, I was going to say I have tried to find a VR Starfighter game just to give it a shot, and it's I don't know how they need to make it work, but it's like rough because you're sitting in your chair and like it makes you feel a little nauseous. Mm-hmm. So that is a danger. Pod racing at least wouldn't have so much up and down. It's just more left and right, but I'm imagining like Thor in Thor Ragnarok when he's sitting in that chair and like a bunch of stuff's coming at him like visually and he's just screaming. I feel like that would be me, like just trying not to die and like The pod racing game is so fast and so hard.
Yeah. I don't know why this popped in my head, but like if we're going to follow, like have a VR game that follows a story, this would be kind of like random, but Cloud City, just like everything at Cloud City, maybe you could play as R2 or I don't know.
That would
like
be interesting, like a droid.
Yeah, play as a droid, like play as R2 and you have to like go and unlock all the doors and do all the things.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Just having all these different, you're like a tiny little Swiss Army knife. Mm-hmm. I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought of Cloud City, but just everything on Cloud City seems like a level kind of in a game that you could play from start to finish.
Yeah, any of those environments would just be fun to explore.
It wouldn't be new, but I bet a lot of people would find it fun.
Vader Immortal is like you get to explore Vader's castle, which is a known place but not really the inside, so that's always neat. But seeing familiar places is fun too. And I just want to live out my dream of being in a cockpit. But like your pod racing idea might be my favorite one I've heard. Like that would be so intense.
Yeah. Be really loud and be like do 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 do.
There's a like you can mess up your engine and then you would spin out of control. Like that happens in the pod racing game. Yeah, like what happens to Anakin. What if that happened? You just vomit everywhere.
Try spinning, but the Tyranny Legion asks what our favorite Star Trek movie is.
So last week I made a little jab at Star Trek saying like, oh, I'm studying for the Schmodown and I have to watch Star Trek. I don't actually have anything against Star Trek.
Yeah, it was not meant to be a jab. We can all live as a happy family, Star Wars and Star Trek.
So to make up for it, as I've been rewatching him, I'm up to Star Trek First Contact. That's the last one I watched. And honestly, I was watching a lot of the old ones for the first time. I grew up watching Star Trek The Next Generation with my dad. And First Contact is one of the earliest ones I remember. I remember Generations and Insurrection. Generations didn't hold up as well as I recalled, but First Contact was good. I also liked 4 and 6. I thought 2 and 3 were good. 1 is the only one, honestly, where I was like, "This is it's so slow."
Yeah, of the older movies that we've watched, I haven't really been paying attention, so I can't form an official opinion. So can I say one of the new ones?
Yeah.
What was the first Chris Pine one to come out?
Star Trek.
That one.
I mean, that one's good. I do definitely, now that I've been watching the old ones, I see where people were like, okay, J.J. Abrams clearly wanted to make a Star Wars movie. Like, and then he got to. The Star Trek 2009 and Into Darkness are like way more action-oriented than I would like. The early movies especially are very cerebral.
Is Into Darkness have the Spock stuff?
Yes. Which stuff?
Where he's like old.
Yeah, well, that's the first two. Mostly the first one, but I think he's in the second one as well.
Yeah, I think I'd say the first one. I do enjoy the 80s one with the whales.
Yeah, that one's
a little
fun.
Bit just for the campiness and silliness. And which one was it that you were watching where the shiny man gets an emotional chip?
That's Generations. Data, the shiny man.
He has a lot of shiny makeup on. It's very distracting because it's not very
We're making
well.
it very clear we're never going to be Star Trek explained.
It's not very well done. But when he gets his like emotions chip,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, he's like that friend now that everybody's like, ugh.
He's a little much.
But then when I found out he liked the cat, I was like, all right.
I remember that being way funnier when I was a kid. I was like, oh yeah, the emotion chip, this is great. And then it's so cheesy. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where we left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content like audio commentaries for the films, and we're doing commentaries for the Clone Wars episodes. This week is Witches of the Mist. But I guess starting next week, we're going to be doing the new episodes.
Yeah.
We'll take a break from our chronological go through, and we'll do all the new stuff. And on top of that, I just wanted to remind everyone, especially if you're in the Atlanta area or the Southeast, on the 29th, we are doing a live Schmodown in Atlanta, in our hometown. And there will be a link in the description to get tickets to that. There's going to be a special ticket that you can buy in there to have like an exclusive meet and greet with us before the show. So you can check out all of that right now if you're interested.
On to YouTube questions. Elijah Neal asks if there are any themes in Star Wars that are in universe, like the Imperial March.
I like this question.
Yub nub.
Well, yeah. I think that's the easiest answer. But yeah, so the Imperial March was written for Empire Strikes Back, and then in Star Wars Rebels and in Solo: A Star Wars Story, we hear the in-universe version of it. It's more lighthearted and upbeat, more of an actual march than so evil sounding. But do you think there are any other themes? Yub Nub's a great one, like that.
The Cantina song?
Well, that one's obviously in universe. You're cheating now.
No, I mean, yeah, what'd they change it to? The Celebration song or whatever? Yeah, that's the only one that I can think of.
I was wondering if maybe there was an actual version of the march at the end of A New Hope, the temple, the throne room.
Right, because we've talked about in the past how awkward it would be if there were no music, like in the Arlnauts video.
Right. Which, hilarious video if you've never seen it. It's Star Wars minus Williams, and it's just like, what if there was no music in that scene? It's so bizarre.
There has to be some music playing.
Right, so I'm like, maybe they do know that, and they've got a speaker. Maybe R2's playing some ambient music there.
Yeah.
Although that's also like the Force theme. So, yeah, I could see that being something that actually exists in the universe. And maybe the Rebels theme, that maybe they use that somewhere. Well, you always laugh at me when I hum.
No, I'm just thinking of the music playing like in universe and then being like,
where's that coming from? Yeah, maybe the Force provides music for key moments, and everyone's just used to it. Maybe all the music we've ever heard is just the Force playing music. Be kind of cool if we had like a soundtrack to our lives.
The midi-chlorians are the tiny orchestra of the universe. C wants to know why Kylo Ren never gets yellow eyes. He never goes full Sith.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, he never goes like deep into the dark side like the Emperor or Anakin do. Maul, I think, just naturally has yellow eyes, but he's also probably just that mad all the time.
Yeah, he never. Ben Solo / Kylo Ren never fully gives in to the dark side.
Being conflicted is kind of his thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just never goes full on dark side.
Even when he has his tantrums.
Yeah.
Still got the baby browns? Does he have brown eyes?
I wasn't paying that close attention. Well, he may have had some with his helmet on. Maybe that's why he reforged the helmet, to hide his yellow eyes.
Oh.
Like, Rey won't like me if I have yellow eyes.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
The truth is he just never ever goes that deep into the dark side because he's always got that conflict within him.
Nicholas Chin asks if people know Kylo Ren's true identity. I have to imagine Snoke and Hux.
I think more do people in the Resistance know.
Oh. I was thinking just like anybody, but
yeah.
Hux probably knows because
I assume so.
He's been around when Snoke's been talking about his great lineage. I don't know.
I want to say yes, only because I don't see Leia keeping that secret from people.
Oh yeah, he does say, or they do say like my son a few times, and not like my son.
Yeah, I mean it is in like private conversation, but after what happened in Bloodline, when the truth of Leia being Darth Vader's daughter comes out, and that really messes things up. I can't imagine that she would then turn around and be like, I got to keep this a secret too. That's got to be rough though. Like for the galaxy to learn that A, you're Darth Vader's daughter, and B, your son is Kylo Ren, like within the course of a few years.
We've talked about this before. The entire galaxy is like, what the bleep is happening with this family, and why are they messing everything up?
That's all they do. It's just constant drama with these people.
And now, like, they're like, oh, Rey took the name, great.
Yeah, I thought we were done with them.
That old lady, like, is like, ugh.
A Skywalker? Really? Ugh.
Get out of here. Anakin Sky Potter wants to know what we think of the theory that Palpatine drained Padme's life and fed it to Vader to keep him alive. So instead of her losing the will to live, Palpatine would have been draining her life to funnel into Vader?
Yeah. This has been a theory for a long time, but it's popped back up, especially with Rey doing the Force healing, and then we see Palpatine like do a Force drain on Ben and Rey. Mm-hmm. I have a weird feeling about this theory because I think that it makes what happens better. I like it more than she lost the will to live. I like it a lot more than that, but I don't think that was what George Lucas was going for, so I don't think it's true. I think his intent was that Anakin broke her heart and she died.
Yeah. I don't really like the idea of it happening that way. It's convenient to think of it that way now that we know what we know from Rise of Skywalker, but yeah, I mean, she lost the will to live and died, but she also died in childbirth, so I don't know. It's Vader's whole like being haunted by Padme and all his stuff, his just like inner turmoil about Padme. I feel like it wouldn't be as important for his character if that would have been the case.
I agree with you. I think that it was important for him to be the one to do it. And it's enough that Palpatine was just lying. I just wish that they had gone with something like she died in childbirth instead of coming in and being like, medically, there's nothing wrong with her. She's dying. She lost the will. Like, I just don't like losing the will to live. I wish that one aspect had been changed.
Yeah.
But oh well.
I mean, it's a tragic love story, and it's like, well, even in like Shakespeare, there's Romeo and Juliet, there's like poison and knives involved, but still, like, just the love story aspect of it, her losing the will to live just means so much more than, oh, Palpatine just drained her life essence.
Yeah.
And shot it into Vader.
But she didn't have the will to like live for her 2 newborn twin children. It's like,
Avengers Weekly asks why Kylo Ren has his helmet at Galaxy's Edge if he doesn't reforge it until the Rise of Skywalker. This is some nitpicking right here, and this bugs me, because would you rather see Kylo Ren in a helmet or some guy that really doesn't look like Adam Driver?
They should have just gotten Adam Driver. Why didn't they sign over his soul when they got him for the sequel trilogy?
I mean, like, the girl who plays, or the women who play Rey at the park, I mean, they don't look exactly like her, but they kind of have to get someone that looks similar to her. But talk about like getting taken out of the experience to see Kylo Ren not in the mask. I don't know. It just makes it easier, one, for them hiring people at the park, because they don't have to worry about whether or not they look like Adam Driver. And yeah, it's just more immersive.
What I'm surprised at is that they haven't swapped out the helmet for like the reforged one yet.
They might.
I think they will and should, although I guess like canonically it takes place beforehand. So, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things that you have to let go, because yeah, it's a lot easier to just slap a helmet on someone. And I mean, the helmet's iconic already. Mm-hmm. But I thought we could have some fun and just be like, well, did he have an extra lying around? And if so, then why was that other one he smashed so important to build and put back together?
You know, this is a question for the people of Batuu. So if anyone's going to Galaxy's Edge, film yourself asking this question to one of the people that working in Batu, and maybe they have an answer.
I figured it out. So he goes to Galaxy. So he goes to Batu, and he just happens to visit Doc on Dars, and he sees a helmet in there, and he's like, "That's my helmet." And he just like, "Well, I can't let someone else buy this." So it's just another one that Doc had lying around.
Oh, and you just reminded me of another thing, part of the immersion. His voice, like that iconic voice alteration that happens with the helmet, like little kids especially like want to hear that, and I mean adults want to hear it too. Mm-hmm. I want to hear it.
I liked hearing it.
I got chills.
I mean, he like told me to get out of the way, and I was like, "Oh snap!"
Yeah,
like,
it's way more intimidating than some 20-something-year-old dude.
Yeah, and I think that we actually got asked this a lot this week because we were talking about the helmet last week. And it was all in good fun where they're just like, well, now hold on a minute. If he doesn't reforge it, how come he has it here? And it's just like, well, it's one of those things.
Yeah, that's a question for Disney and the Disney parks people, not us.
That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.